Here we go.
You're tuning in to Will Love Listen. Now listen.
All right. Well, we were already chatting beforehand, but hi, Devin. Thanks for taking the time out to speak with me. I've been looking forward to this interview because I was a fan of the original Queer as Folk. I discovered it like 3 years ago. And once I found out that they were doing like a new adaptation of it, like a current version, was like all hyped. And I was like, I definitely have to, speak with someone from the cast. And I read like about the characters, and I feel like I kind of correlate a little bit with your character. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong as we get into this.
All right.
But how are you? How are things going?
Oh, things are really amazing. I really, truly, I know it's going to sound a little cheesy, but feel like I'm living the dream, Currently feel like the luckiest guy on the planet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you before you got cast, did you watch the original series, or were you a fan of it? Were you familiar with the show at all?
Yeah, I actually found it in like my early 20s on the internet. I remember I was like Googling on my phone like boys kissing, and I found like clips of the show. And then it wasn't until much later after I got involved with the show that I actually went back and watched all the seasons, the UK and the American version.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was good. What did you think of the original?
Oh, honestly, I thought that it was like really important, for the people who needed it in that time. I think you can still go back and watch those shows and get something that is deeply meaningful to you. And it made me even more excited to get to tell kind of a legacy story and a reimagining of the show. My hope is that, like if a show that could be a show that is very focused on one type of person. I mean, the originals could be that impactful to generations. How much more impactful is a show that kind of broadens the spectrum and shows you all different colors and lived experiences in a city like New Orleans? And yeah, I'm really excited to see the impact that our show has.
I think it's going to be really interesting because the original was set and filmed like circa 2000 to 2005, which feels like a century ago. Because
Oh.
I feel like gay culture and like the LGBT community as a whole has completely changed so much. I also feel like it's become a bit more mainstream and, a bit more vocal, a bit more proud, and it's just entirely different. So having watched like the original when you got cast and then going back and working on this project, can you tell us how this differs and what themes and topics are going to be discussed this season?
Oh, absolutely. What you're going to see in our show that you might not have seen in the originals. We talk about gender identities. We talk about what it's like being a person of color in the world. What we talk about things like Brodie, my character, he's adopted, and what's it like being raised by two white people in the South. We touch on, we have characters who are drag queens and people who have different disabilities. I mean, really, like we do a really good job of being super diverse and authentic while also just being our authentic selves. The show really doesn't feel like it's pushing an agenda or like trying to shove anything down people's throats. That's what I'm most proud of. It's just a show that is showing humanity in its queerness, and it's honestly, it's beautiful.
You made like a good point because like some shows, I feel like sometimes they try to like play up the gay card. Let's call it what it is, but like it comes across very inauthentic. So it's good to know that this, I mean, it's Queer as Folk, so obviously it's going to be natural, but it's good to know that like, it's natural. And I like the added elements, like you said, like identity and like your character, for example. I think it's in the adoption aspect intrigues me. Maybe I'm partial because I was adopted from Colombia as an infant, but I was raised like by a white family, by like an Italian family. So like I kind of get that, and I haven't even watched the first episode yet.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. And then your character, according to the description, it says that you're a bit of a commitment phobe, and I feel like that's probably a big chunk of the gay community, or at least every guy I've dated, and even me at times.
Right.
So let's get into your character a little bit. Why is he a commitment phobe? Like, do we discover like some issues he's dealing with or things he's been through? Tell us as much as you can.
Yeah, what's so exciting about what you told me earlier, Will, is that you're adopted. Yeah, I myself am adopted as well.
Oh, in real
And
life too.
yeah. And
Okay.
so what's so cool about that is I think that I can only speak from my experience, but I grew up with this understanding of love that it was conditional, right? That if I didn't fit into this perfect mold, that I could be unchosen, and I think that when you grow up with inherent fear that at any given point in time someone could leave you or disregard you, you kind of have this like fight or flight syndrome that kicks on. And I think the thing that you'll see with Brodie is that he runs before he gets hurt. His one of his greatest superpowers is his ability to love, and it's his capacity to share that love. But the shadow side of that is it's fear, it's manipulation, and it's kind of get out before you get hurt. I know you talked about your exes, and
Yeah.
oftentimes, I mean, I can relate to being a commitment phobe, but I would never call myself one. I would only be called that by other people, and then deal with it in my own life. Be like, wait, am I a commitment phobe? So I really hope that Brodie mirrors back to the world something that they may not see within themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. And I like the fact that like both you and Brodie were adopted. That's so interesting. So maybe this question is actually geared to both you and your character because the
Mhm.
answers might be different. Um, do you feel like with adoption comes a fear of abandonment?
I can't say that as a blanket statement for everybody. Because obviously the circumstances that cover adoption are so different. When it came to my specific journey, I do think that there was an element because I felt like I had to cling to perfection. And if I was anything other than perfect, that I could be unchosen. Right. And I think that played into my journey to discover and um, unfold my queerness. Is I thought that being queer also was an imperfection, right? Because I
Yeah.
had nowhere to look, I had no one to see and myself reflected or mirrored back in. And so now I know, and I'm so excited that this show is going to show um, people that it's not. It's not imperfection. It's just simply who you are. And it's been really really lovely to get to love myself in spite of my learned beliefs.
That's so interesting. I mean, I feel like personally I correlate the same way. Like I viewed gay as an imperfection, being adopted as an imperfection. So coming out like it was like 10 times as hard because of that, because I feel like I'm even more imperfect now. So
Mhm.
does your character, is it a similar thing? Like is being adopted as much of an issue as being gay for him? Like what are some things like we'll see him struggle with?
Yeah, what I love is early on in the it's kind of mid-season. There is an episode where it takes Brodie back to high school, and you get to see him when he wasn't out, when he is dealing with kind of fitting into a mold that it doesn't really fit. It's fitting into a mold that is perfect, right? And I think it's so cool to hold that as a measure as to where he is now. When you first meet him, when you first meet Brodie, he's this charming, like very larger than life, some people call him chaotic, a charm monster, right? And then so to imagine him as this kid who was very rule following and straight and in the closet is something that I think a lot of us don't give credit to how far we've come as individuals in remembrance of where we actually came from. And so yeah, it's definitely a theme that you'll see.
Oh, that's great. I'm pumped. I mean, I feel like I sort of relate to the character more than I thought I did reading the descriptions.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of, I looked through the list of like the main characters, recurring, etc. Who does your character Brodie sort of jive with and or not get along with?
Okay. I think Brodie's kind of the center of it all. So
Okay. All right.
he's the glue that connects everyone. So the problem is he gets along with everybody and no one at the exact same time, right? So his best friend on the entire planet is Ruthie, played by Jesse James Keitel, and it's been so lovely because Jesse has become one of my best friends in real life.
Oh, nice.
And so to get to work alongside her, that's probably the relationship in the show that I love the most. because it feels so just like a reflection of what goes on in my real life.
Nice. That you sort of answered my next question, which was going to be like, who from the cast do you sort of spend the most time with, or have you built like a strong connection with in real life?
Oh yeah, I spend the absolute. If Jesse and I go more than like a day without talking, we're like, "Where have you been?" You know, like we were glued to the hip. But in all honesty, like I'm pretty close with everybody. We were so fortunate to have just the most compatible group of people. We couldn't be more different, but it is our differences that make us so connected. And yeah, the luckiest guy on the planet.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear. It's always nice, you know, when you hear it when people are working on a show that they get along together in real life.
Yeah.
Because I know that's not always the case. um, so it's set in New Orleans. I thought that was pretty interesting city. So do we learn a little bit more about, you know, New Orleans culture and, you know, because New Orleans is a very unique city, even
Absolutely.
besides Mardi Gras. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, what I love about the show is what you see in our show is tragedy into healing, and celebration and love. And something that I think New Orleans has been marked with is a history of tragedy, hurricanes, disasters. You know, that city is constantly forced to rebuild. And I know that when I was told it was shooting in New Orleans, I was like, oh no, those mosquitoes and the swamp weather. And, you know, and I got there and I could not have been more wrong. This city is the heart of celebration every weekend, families and culture, and just like, yes, they rebuild, but they also do it with such a sense of pride and celebration and community that when I learned after being there that we were getting to shoot a show there, it was just like, wow, that's the heartbeat of our show. It's this celebration and healing and rebuilding, and like you don't have to build and be sad at the same time. You can also be sad. It's a part of healing, but it's not just that. And I love New Orleans. I hope everyone gets to go.
I love it. And I think it was a great idea because so many shows, it's, you know, a lot of them are based in either New York City or Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I felt like, you know, Queer as Folk being in New Orleans, I'm like, oh, this is different. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really special.
So how many episodes could I don't know if you could talk about this or not. How many episodes, or if they told you, could we expect a season? What are some things that you could give away? Give us as much as possible.
So you can expect to see all 8 episodes dropping June 9th on Peacock. And some things you can expect to see is you can see, oh my gosh, it's just, oh, what can I say? Yeah, I mean, it is, oh, sorry, I was just going to say it's sexy, it's fun, it's exciting, it is heart-wrenching, it is, you're going to laugh, you're going to scream, you're going to see some things that you're like, what is going on? It is pure chaos and pure gold at the exact same time. And I think people are really, really, really going to love it.
What was the hardest scene for you to film?
Probably my very last scene.
Okay.
It was a scene from episode 6, but I knew it was the last scene I was doing. And so it was a very simple scene. I'm just standing outside and something just like a vehicle drives by me. And personally, like I was so emotional because I knew it was my last moment in that moment, and getting to be Brodie this season. And I mean, I could hardly do the take because I was just crying the whole time. And it's not even a sad scene, you know. They wanted me to smile, and every time I smiled, these crocodile tears would stream from my face. And so it was just, that was probably my toughest scene to film.
All right. Well, I'm pumped. I could talk to you all day long, but I know you have a busy schedule. I'm pumped. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today and answering my questions. And lastly, where can people find you? What are all your social media handles, website, etc.?
Oh, I'm mainly on Instagram. It's at the Devin Way, and TheDevinWay, and that's really it.
All right. Well, I'll definitely be following you, and I'll message you on the gram, and
Amazing.
tag you when everything comes out, when the magazine comes out, when the podcast comes out, all of that.
Oh, thank you, Will. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.